What is up, everyone? It is Brad here today with another episode of askbrick. This is askbrick episode number 73 now. I am so close to getting to number 75. Let's see if I get it done by the end of this year. But this is my Q&A show here across all my social media platforms where you ask me questions about LEGO down in the comments below, and I answer them up here on video. Today we've got some really great questions about LEGO, including how I get all my LEGO sets early and free. Spoiler alert, that's not true. As well as some insights about working at the LEGO store, and a little insights about my collection as well, including the most expensive LEGO set that I own. Let's get right into it. Alright, so the first question is from Jamie World 1690. askbrick, how do you get free LEGO sets before everyone else? The answer is, I don't really. So for me personally in particular, a lot of the LEGO sets that I have are ones that I purchased myself from the LEGO store, and I didn't get them early. I got them after they were already released to the general public. I'm not a LEGO set reviewer. I don't actually review sets very often, just some like gift with purchases or sets that I really like. So for the most part, I'm not trying to get LEGO sets as early as possible. I like to just add them to my LEGO collection when it feels right. And like I mentioned, sometimes I'll get LEGO sets when they're newer so I can make videos on them, but that's not often the case. And I actually pay for them, like I mentioned. So I used to work at the LEGO store and I got 50% off all the sets I bought. So that's how I was able to buy a large quantity of LEGO sets. But even then I wasn't able to buy them early, and I had to wait actually 2 to 3 weeks after they were released to the public before I was able to buy them using the discount, or I would have had to pay full price for them and not use the discount. And unfortunately, I'm not a member of the LEGO Ambassador Network. That's the network of influencers and content creators that do get a lot of sets early and free. I applied for that program 3-4 years ago now before COVID and was rejected, and just haven't made it around to applying again yet. I probably will, because it would be a great program to be part of, and I think it would assist my channel quite a bit. But a lot of those creators do get LEGO sets early and free, and that is because when the product is released, they are making content on it right away, so they have to get it early so they can get the content started, or at least thought out and explored before it's ready for the general public, and it's a bonus that they don't have to pay for them. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because I don't get a lot of LEGO sets free before everyone else, and there is occasions where I do. I will admit that. Like earlier this year, I did a brand deal with Walmart Canada and LEGO, and I did get some Ninjago sets before they were released, and they were for free, and that's happened a few times now. But it's like those are campaigns are far and wide between, like the Ninjago movie sets or like anything like that. Like that does happen, but it doesn't happen like every month or every week or something like that. So for the most part, all the LEGO in this room has pretty much been paid for by me, family members, friends, gifts, whatever it might be, but I don't get a lot of content for free. I love this next question. This one's from Princer Poe. askbrick, in collecting LEGO, at what point do you stop and say, I am out of control, where you just have so many parts, minifigures, and sets that will most likely not be used for years, and collecting starts to become hoarding? This doesn't include sets on display. I definitely think there is a point in someone's LEGO collecting journey where you just have so much stuff, there's nothing you can do with it. And for me, I think where it would become hoarding is when I have so much stuff and not enough time that I just know I'll never ever get to it. Sure, I know that there are some sets in my backlog collection, which my backlog collection is actually over here in my LEGO room in this closet. So this is a closet I have. I've shown it a few times in askbrick especially, but this is just a closet basically full of LEGO sets. And sure, I do know there are realistically some sets in this closet that will never get built. They're just ones that I bought a few years ago or were given to as gifts that I thought I might really like to build someday, but I just know now that my interests have changed, or I just don't like the set as much anymore. So I just know I'll never build it, and I feel like, yeah, you could call that hoarding, the fact that I'm holding on to it, knowing that it's never going to be built. And that's personally where I would say the LEGO collecting would get out of hand. If you have, full of sets that you're not going to build, parts that you're not going to sort, and things that you just don't know what to do with, that you know you're never going to have time to get around with or anything like that, I would say, yeah, that's probably hoarding if you continue to buy more. I just finished sorting my entire LEGO collection, and some of those parts I had had in my collection unsorted for like 3 or 4 years, and it did feel like hoarding when I just kept buying more parts and buying more sets, knowing that I'm not doing something with the sets I already have. That's why it was so important for me to get my parts collection sorted, so now I don't feel guilty buying more LEGO parts, because all of it is at least in my collection. I think it's important to have a backlog of LEGO sets to build, and a backlog of Lego parts, because you don't want to have every part you have in your collection in use or in a mock or in a set or something like that, because then you don't get to build. So it's important to have a large, inventory of parts that you could build with. I think it's good to have Lego sets in your backlog so you can build them and enjoy them. And sometimes, after a rough day, I don't want to build a mock. I don't want to make a video. I want to build a Lego set. I'll go into my closet and grab one. Bricks is a really good example. I think he's got the largest Lego collection of anyone I know. And when I was talking to him, he's telling me that he doesn't really have a backlog of Lego because he builds it all so fast. And I think that's a great example of not being a hoarder. He's a day one buyer. He buys all the Lego sets when they come out on day one. But if he just bought them and never ever built them and just stuck them in a closet, that would be called hoarding. But the fact that he puts them on display, I'm like, yeah, that is like the anti-hoarder. I follow someone else online that just has like thousands and thousands of pounds of unsorted Lego brick. And at that point, I feel like that's almost just hoarding, because that's so much Lego that you're not going to know what to do with. You're going to be sorting for years and years and years, and it's just like unmanageable for one person to figure it out. So I feel like at that point, it would be a little bit hoarding. But for me and my Lego collection, I think I'll be in control of my Lego collection as long as I'm not spending so much money on sets that I'm not building, parts that I'm not sorting or building with, or things like minifigure parts. I feel like are one thing I do hoard a little bit too much, because I always buy parts at the Lego store and I put them in my collection and I don't necessarily use them. So I should get better at that and actually enjoy them. But yeah, for me, out of control would be if I had a backlog that just was continuing to grow and never diminishes. Like I try and build sets as fast as I can when I buy them because I like them and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like as long as you're in control of your Lego collection, you don't have an exorbitant amount of sets to build, you don't have an incredible too many parts to sort and build and go through like that. As long as you're manageable and you recognize that, I feel like Lego is good for you. And I feel like everybody has a little bit of a different tolerance level when they think it gets too much versus when they're, turning into a hoarder. But for me, it's also important to remember what I have. Sometimes I'll forget, and sometimes I'll find a minifigure or set that I'm like, oh, this is so cool, I didn't even know I had it. But if you're just getting so much that you're constantly buying duplicates or constantly forgetting, that might be a little bit of an issue, and that's where I would draw the line. This one is from Internal Edit 1610. Askbrick, do you have any suggestions to make roads in your Lego city without changing my modulars to mills plates? Yes, because actually about a year or two ago, I was wondering the exact same thing, because I did not want to modify any of my modular buildings, but I wanted road plates, and this is what I did. So some might not like this, but this is my Lego city here, and all of the roads are made from Lego's newer road plates. These are the 16 by 16 plates, like the actual plates and not just base plates. And I just put them here in my Lego city. So I think that this looks great and I have no complaints. I know some people might not like that the roads are a little bit taller than the sidewalks here where the modular buildings are, but for me, quite frankly, I do not care. I think this is such a great system because it's so easy. Yeah, the roads are narrow and maybe it doesn't look as nice as someone's custom mills plated roads, but for me, it does the job absolutely perfectly. It looks great here in my Lego city. When you're looking at it from afar, you don't think like, oh, you should have raised those base plates a little. It makes it really easy because everything's just one section. All the base plates are on their original plate, so it was a lot easier to build the city and it took a lot less time. But yeah, honestly, if you want to not mills plate your Lego city and you just want to put some road plates in, I would say you could use the official Lego road plates and you're going to be good to go. The reason I never liked Lego's 32 by 32 base plate road plates was A, because I thought they were too big and I didn't want to leave 32 by 32 space in between my modular buildings, because like right here, I only left 16 and that was just, more than enough room. So I never wanted to do that, but also because people used to take their modular buildings off their original base plates and put them onto the road plates with the sidewalk and do all that tiling. And I was like, if I want to readjust my Lego city a little, I certainly don't want to have to do that every single time, because that is a lot of work and just doesn't seem worth it. So that's why I've done it the way that I've done it right now, and I have absolutely no complaints and no plans to add mills plates or anything like that to my Lego city, because like I said, I'm really happy with how it looks. I don't even think you barely notice there, and it just looks very, very nice here in the city, and I highly recommend those road plates for sure. Big investment up front because you have to buy a lot of them. It only comes with like 4 or 5 per set, and I think I have probably 10 copies of the set here in my Lego collection now, or probably even 20. I purchased a lot over the years, but I do think it's worth it, and I have absolutely no complaints because I saved a lot of brick and a lot of time by not mills plating my Lego city. Funny enough, when I was a teenager as well, and I had absolutely no money to spend on anything unnecessarily, like I bought those as an adult when I finally had a little bit more money, but as a teenager and stuff like that, I first used duct tape because it was gray and I just taped my table down and it was perfect. And then after that, I used black Bristol board to make roads, and I used like white paint to make the lines. So I did things like very, very budget friendly at first when I had no money to do it. And then finally, when I became an adult and could afford some road plates, that's what I did. But I joked about with Our Toy World a few months ago, because he was like, your road plates were terrible. I'm like, I know, but I had no money and it was better than nothing. Like, I used to make awful Lego customs. We've talked about my custom Nicki Minaj one too. Like, I was, janking things together and just, it was all DIY because I had no money to spend on what I actually wanted, but I knew I wanted to do something and it worked for me. So get creative. If you don't have the money to spend on road plates, if you want to just use Bristol board, if you want to use duct tape, gray paint, whatever it may be, do what you can. It doesn't have to be perfect because it doesn't make sense to spend a lot of money. And I'm so glad I didn't invest in Lego base plates back then, because then Lego went and changed them. So I would have been pissed if I had to rebuy everything. So happy with the way it is right now. Next up for these questions, we're going to be taking a look at my brick set statistics. Fun fact. This next question comes from Jamie World 1690. Ask Brick, what is the most expensive Lego set that you own? So off the top of my head, I believe it is the Lego Titanic, but I am going to go to Brickset to just confirm that. I know that sometimes the value of Lego change. So basically on Brickset, it's this really cool tool that is a database of all your Legos. So what you can do is you can go to My Sets and click Overview of your collection, and then you can click View all your sets, and then you can actually sort it up here by retail price. So you actually want to do retail price descending, because that retail price brought me to my cheapest Lego set ever, which was $249 Canadian. So according to retail price, the most expensive Lego set that I own is, and I was correct, set number 10294, the Lego Titanic. This one retailed for $849.99 here in Canada. The second most expensive set I have in my collection is the Lego Roman Colosseum. This one was $649.99, and the third most expensive set is the Lego Disney Castle, which was $399.99, which was one I actually got completely for free using my VIP points. And then I've got like the Assembly Square, Haunted House, Home Alone, Disney Training Station, the World Map, Nintendo Entertainment System, and the Tree House. So a lot of these are over $300 sets, but the ones that are very, very different here are the Colosseum and the Titanic, because those ones were very, very expensive. So those are obviously the most expensive Lego sets that I own in my collection from retail value, but now we can actually take a look at the value of the new sets, the most expensive value of the sets I have in my Lego collection. This one would be the King's Castle. So these are, I maybe should value used, but if this one was brand new in box, it would be worth almost $4,000. So this one is actually right here behind me, and it's not new. It is very much used. The figures and stuff like that are missing, but that, if it was new, would be the most expensive set. Then after that, it would be the Titanic, because it's still worth $849. And then beyond that would be the Brick Bank, which is a set I have in my Lego City. This one, again, not new, but it would be worth $740. We've got the Colosseum, which is also still available. The Grand Emporium, which would be $679. The Antique Fire Engine, actually, this is not here in my Lego room. I don't know why I clicked that I own this set. I don't really. This is my dad's set. I gave it to him for his birthday or Christmas a few years ago, so it's at our house back home. But the value new on this one is $629, which is pretty crazy. And that was designed by Boone, which is exciting. And then I've got the Disney Train Station, which is $623. Oh, and this one I just got too. This is new. It would be $582. That's pretty crazy. So those are some of the crazy value new. Let's look at the value of used sets, because all the sets I have here in my collection are pretty much used now. So the Titanic is still the most valuable used set, which makes sense. It was the most expensive set I purchased. We've got the Brick Bank here is most expensive at $603. The Colosseum, I can't believe the Disney Train and Station is worth $508, $379 for it, and I bought it at the Lego store when I worked there, so it was actually 50% off that, so I paid a lot less for it. So that would be a great little paycheck if I wanted to sell that. And then of course we've got the Grand Emporium, which is worth almost $500 used. The Old Fishing Store, almost again $500 used, which is crazy because this one was only worth $179.99 when I bought that one. The Carousel, $434 used, which is wild. The Antique Fire Engine, we've already talked about the detective's office for $13, which doubled in price used and almost tripled in price brand new. So this goes to show that you should maybe do some Lego investing. And then of course, like the Palace Cinema there, the Downtown Diner, the Ferris wheel, $352. This one actually didn't go up very much. It like doubled, I guess, but that's not too crazy. But yeah, Jamie, I guess to answer your question, the most expensive Lego set that I own currently is the Lego Titanic. And if it was a used set that you were talking about, it would be the Brick Bank is the current most expensive set that's in my collection other than the Titanic. That is the used value. But it's always fun to go through your brick set collection and kind of look at things like that and see where you're at with your statistics and stuff, because that was pretty fun. The one last question that I will answer, because we're on brick set already, this one is from Turtle Brick Studio. Ask Brick, what was your first ever Lego set? So I know what my first ever Lego set was. It was 7244, which was the speedboat here. This one came out in, I believe, 2005. It only had 107 Lego pieces. The current value of it is 79 new and 51 used. Where was it back then? Where does it say the retail value? Retail, oh my god, $29. That is crazy. But yeah, so this is like the first Lego set that I vividly remember getting and building with my dad, and it actually floated. And funny enough, it was a boat, which propelled me into the Lego boat industry. But yeah, that is the first Lego set that I remember getting here in my collection. I think I had a few others before that, but this was like the very first one that I truly remember. But the first Lego set in my collection that like propelled me into collecting Lego was the 2008 Lego police station, which was 7744 Police Headquarters. Like this, I got this one. It came out in January 2008. I got it in December of 2008 after seeing a friend have it at their birthday party. And like this set, I saw my friend have that, and that was like, oh my god, I want to become a Lego fan. I want to become a Lego collector. I want to play with Lego. I saw him have that. I got this set for Christmas. It was like the best set ever, and I think that's what hooked me, because I loved this set so much. And you know, wasn't my first Lego set, but it was definitely the set for me that even though I got other sets before, I got this one for like Christmas and my birthday and stuff, because I started collecting Lego and going to the Lego stores before that. This was like the one set that was like, wow, I want to be a Lego collector. So I absolutely love this one. And with that, you guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of Ask Brick. I'm really happy that I was able to answer a bunch of questions for you guys. I really hope you enjoyed today's video and the whole discussion that we got to have. Anyway, thank you again for watching. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and of course subscribe, and I'll see you here in the next video.